So, good evening, everyone. This is Country Music News International. My name's Nigel Sharpe, and I'm talking this evening to Abbie Bell, who's all the way up north in frozen Scotland.
Yeah.
You are, in fact, the very first person I've interviewed in Scotland, which is really
Oh, no way.
nice.
Yeah, no, well,
Yeah.
I'm honored to be the first. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really normally get to speak to people
Yeah.
much either in the UK or
Yeah.
I've spoken to a few people in Australia where the country scene is
Mhm.
pretty healthy,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
a couple of interviews with folks in Ireland where it's
Mm-hmm.
also pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be my first question: is what
Yeah.
actually is the country scene like in the UK, England, and Scotland at the moment?
I would say it's a small but mighty community. It's still very much up and coming. It's definitely in terms of like festivals, venues, and an actual kind of audience, I would say England's grown at a bit of a faster pace than Scotland. Even though we are starting to see like a lot more venues open up, especially in the capital cities or even club nights that do country music and things like that. We are starting to see the love for that genre come back, and start to see a lot more support for up and coming actual local artists, because I think there's a massive, massive fan base for, the big country stars right now. If Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs comes to Scotland or the UK, the shows are sold out. So there's definitely a love for the genre, but just supplying an actual avenue for up and coming country artists that are from the UK. It is getting there, absolutely. But we've had such a great time in our small journey as a band so far, being able to develop friends with other artists, promoters, venues, and sound engineers and stuff, all working in the space. So it's actually nice to be all growing it together in a way, and leading from those that are like now going over to Nashville and things like that. And it's a great space to be in. So yeah, that would probably be my thoughts on it.
Let's get to some of your music now. If
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken, your new single has been officially released. Is it today or is it tomorrow?
it's tomorrow.
So, where does this particular song come from? Are you the main writer?
Yes. So in our band, it's yeah. So I'll write all the songs, um, lyrics, melody, structure, with a few ideas of where I'm hearing the song going. I take it to my bandmates, and basically, then as a collective, we rip the song apart. We talk about it, and we say, right, we really like this. Or they will completely shut a song idea down, and they'll be like, we don't think this is good. You need to have maybe take this one back to the drawing board, which is absolutely fine. And that's actually a funny story with what happened with American Idol. Is I wrote that song back when the band first formed. And when we were about 6 months in, I brought it in, and it was such a completely different song. It was a really rocky. It was, I'd written it with a very kind of heavier, like more electric guitar presence, a bit more kind of overdrive sounding, and that's how we kind of played it live. And then just through our progression and our sound as a band, it slowly started to get stripped back as we learnt more to what our style is now. But it all kind of came to a head when our bassist turned to me and he was like, I don't want to play this song live anymore. He was like, I don't think it's strong. I don't think it's good. He was like, there's definitely a song in there. I just don't think we found the right pieces to fit all the puzzle together. So I was like, right. I was like, that's absolutely fair. So I took the song back for a rewrite. Um, and literally we had been jamming something in a rehearsal that week. And it was like, just like the little like doom, doom, doom which kind of gave me the idea to give it more of an Americana flair.
Yeah.
So took it away, nothing changed melody or lyrics wise, but what actually changed was the chord sequence, the key, and how the other instruments will actually fit into that. Took it back, and yeah, within one rehearsal, we absolutely loved it, and it became our favourite song to play live. It's such a good song to play live. It's an absolute foot stomper. And then, yeah, now there's the studio version coming out, which is also, we absolutely love it. So yeah, that's kind of most of how our songs come together, is I'll bring the initial idea. The band either likes it or they don't like it. If they don't like it, it's rewrite. Sometimes the rewrite is more production wise. So it's like, right, well, it might be the case of, as a trio, we can't perform this song live, us three. So we'll need to take it into the studio, do some backing tracks to get the full kind of sound that we want. Other times it's an absolute home run and the band love it and we go from it. But my bandmates are so talented. They're amazing songwriters and composers within themselves, that anything that I bring to the table, they completely put their own spin on it and add to it. And it's a really nice kind of writing process. It's worked well for us so far.
Going back to your to the other musicians in the band,
Yes.
How did you actually get together in the first place?
So it was literally just an old-fashioned Facebook ad to be like, I'm looking for drummer, lead guitarist, bass. And I found Nathan, our drummer, immediately. He was the first person that messaged me, being like he was interested. He had been wanting to join a band since COVID. So he sent me some of his like tracks that he'd been working on. He was great. Then we had started with another bassist and another guitarist. The original bassist left. And then so did the lead guitarist. And that's when we found Ross. And Ross being Ross, which I didn't know at the time was Ross being Ross, but he was just like, yeah, cool, I'll see you next rehearsal. And that was it. And it's been us three ever since.
So who's that actually came up with the name, the High Rise? That's a good name. I like the name.
So, it's a weird, basically I was coming up with band names and, you know, I knew I wanted something that was stylistically country, shall we say. So I was coming up with different things, and I was scrolling through the app Pinterest. Yeah, so I was scrolling through Pinterest, and just it so happened that I got an ad for Bullet Bourbon.
Okay.
And Bullet Bourbon is a high rye whiskey.
Yeah.
And bourbon, and all that stood out to me from the ad was just the words high rye. And I was like, the High Rise. I was like, that's clever. And then I work in marketing as my day job. So I'm quite used to designing logos and graphics and stuff. And within 30 minutes, I had what we would call in marketing assets, social media assets for this band. That was still just me and Nathan at the time. And I fell in love with it. I took it to the original band and I was like, this is what we're calling the band. And their only point was they wanted me up front. So they wanted to add in the Abbie Bell and part. So that was all on them.
Going back to the music and, the new release, do you have any kind of special plans for that? Any special promotions?
Yes. So basically this kind of track, we want to be as big as we can possibly make it with the stage that we're at the moment. So we're kind of doing it two different things to what we've done before. So before it's been very much just promote it, as much as we can, just the usual promoting. Whereas now we've actually got a campaign in place with Scarlet River, who'll be doing our PR, who we've worked with for all our singles, and we absolutely love Rachel and the team and the amazing work that they do. So that's one. But then we're actually going to up what we do in our marketing and on social media, which is just the new wave of the industry that we're in now. So you'll be seeing us a lot more on TikTok and on Reels. So we've got an actual structured marketing campaign, whereas the other ones were a bit more loosey-goosey. And as well as that, we're doing a full music video. So not just a lyric video or, anything like that. We're investing time and going to go film something that will help promote it. And we're also working on our first headline show of the year, which is going to be in March. So it's a bit late to call it a single release, but we're really putting all our energy into this one show that we're kind of co-headlining with another Scottish musician called Erin Ponsonby. She's a really good friend of ours, an amazing country musician. So we've created our own country headline event. She's taking one night, we're taking the other. All of our time, energy, money is being put into this single and that show. So yeah, it'll be one big party where people will finally get to hear the new version live. The studio version and how that's going to change, it's just taking it to a whole new level. It's not a brand new song, but it's definitely a stronger song live. So that's going to be really fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to wish you all the best for 2024 because you've got
Thank you so much.
the whole year in front of you. So
exactly.
Plenty of time to get things done. Thanks very much for taking the time for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Yeah, our pleasure. So, to Abbie Bell and the other guys in the High Rise, Abbie Bell, thanks very much indeed, and all the best for you and the guys.
Thank you so much. Lovely meeting you. Thank you for having us.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.